guest visiting us, and it's my first time hosting this devotional. So we have a program. The program is about unity of religions and progressive revelation, which we have some writings that I've asked some people to read for us. We're going to start by some music to start, and then we're going to go with the rest of the program.
Spirit of power. Lord. Thou hast created all humanity from the same spark. Thou hast decreed that all should belong to the same household. Thou art kind to all. Thou hast provided for all. Dost shelter all. Conferrest life upon all. Thou hast endowed each and all with talents and faculties, and all is submerged in the ocean of that blue sea. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree, and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family, and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. Cement thou, O God, the hearts together. O thou kind Father, God, gladden our hearts through the fragrance of thy love. Brighten our eyes through the light of thy guidance. Delight our ears with the melody of thy word. And shelter us all in the stronghold of thy providence.
Religion should unite all hearts and cause wars and disputes to vanish from the face of the earth. Give birth to spirituality and bring life and light to each heart. If religion becomes a cause of dislike, hatred, and division, it is better to be without it, and to withdraw from such a religion would be a truly religious act. For it is clear that the purpose of a remedy is to cure. But if the remedy should only aggravate the complaint, it had better be left alone. Any religion which is not a cause of love and unity is no religion. All the holy prophets were as doctors to the soul. They gave prescriptions for the healing of mankind. Thus, any remedy that causes disease does not come from the great and supreme physician.
The purpose of religion, as revealed from the heaven of God's holy will, is to establish unity and concord amongst the peoples of the world. Make it not the cause of dissension and strife. The religion of God and his divine law are the most potent instruments and the surest of all means for the dawning of the light of unity amongst men. The progress of the world, the development of the nations, the tranquility of the peoples, and the peace of all who dwell on earth are among the principles and ordinances of God. Religion bestoweth upon man the most precious of all gifts, offereth the cup of prosperity, imparteth eternal life, and showereth imperishable benefits upon mankind.
The fundamental purpose in meeting the face of God and his religion is to safeguard the interests and promote the unity of the human race, and to foster the spirit of love and fellowship among men. Suffer is not to become a source of dissension and discord, of hate and unity. The from the reformation of the age, and the repetition of its fortunes led them, after meditating on its needs, take counsel together and through anxious and full of deliberation administer to disease and sorely afflicted world the remedy it requires.
This dearly cherished maid servant of thine was attracted to thee through reflection and discernment, long to attain thy presence, enter thy realm.
unto every discerning observer, it is evident and manifest that had these people in the days of each of the manifestations of the Son of Truth sanctified their eyes and their ears and their hearts from whatever they had seen and heard and felt, they surely would not have been deprived of beholding the beauty of God, nor strayed far from the habitations of glory. But having weighed the testimony of God by the standard of their own knowledge, gleaned from the teachings of the leaders of their faith, and found it at variance with a limited understanding, they rose to perpetuate such unseemly acts. Leaders of religion in every age hindered their people from attaining the shores of eternal salvation, inasmuch as they held the reins of authority in their mighty grasp. Some for the lust of leadership, others want of knowledge and understanding, have been the cause of the deprivation of the people of the people. By their sanction and authority, every prophet of God has drunk from the chalice of sacrifice. Others, for want of knowledge and understanding, have been the cause of the deprivation of the people. By their sanction and authority, every prophet of God hath drunk from the chalice of sacrifice and winged his flight into the heights of glory. What unspeakable cruelties they have occupied the seats of authority and learning have inflicted upon the true monarchs of the world, those gems of divine virtue. Content with a transitory dominion, they have deprived themselves of an everlasting sovereignty. All contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, set your faces towards unity, and let the radiance of this light shine upon you. Gather ye together, and for the sake of God, resolve to root out whatever is the source of contention amongst you. Then, with the effulgence of the world's great luminary, envelop the whole earth, and its inhabitants become the citizens of one city, and the occupants of one and the same throne. This wronged one hath ever since the early days of his life cherished none other desire but this, and will continue to entertain no wish except this wish. There can be no doubt whatever that the peoples of the world, of whatever race or religion, derive their inspiration from one heavenly source and are the subject of one God. Now the difference between the ordinances under which they abide should be attributed to the varying requirements and exigencies of the age in which they were revealed. All human perversity were ordained of God and are a reflection of His will and purpose. If we harbor prejudice, it will be the cause of deprivation and ignorance. The strife between religions, nations, and races arises from misunderstanding. If we investigate the religions to discover their principles underlying their foundations, we will find that they agree. For the fundamental reality of them is one and not multiple. By this means the religionists of the world will reach their point of unity and reconciliation. They will ascertain the truth that the purpose of religion is the acquisition of praiseworthy virtues, the betterment of morals, the spiritual development of mankind, the real life, and divine bestowals. All the prophets have been the promoters of these principles. None of them has been the promoter of corruption, vice, or evil. They have summoned mankind to all good. They have united people in the love of God, invited them to the religions of the unity of mankind, and exhorted them to amity and agreement on the promulgation of universal peace. Heavenly Father.
When the days of Moses were ended, and the light of Jesus shining forth from dayspring of the Spirit encompassed the world, all the people of Israel arose in protest against him. They clamored that he whose advent the Bible had foretold must needs promulgate and fulfill the laws of Moses, whereas this youthful Nazarene who laid claim to the station of the divine Messiah had annulled the law of force of the Sabbath day, the most weighty of all the laws of Moses. Moreover, what are the signs of the manifestation yet to come?
you everyone for reading the prayers and the passages. At this point, I would like to welcome anyone that wants to say a prayer in any language at any point. Me? I'm Borhan. I'm hosting the devotional for the first time this month. Borhan Jabir. Nice to meet you. If anyone would like to say a prayer, it would be great. I see some children.
Thy name is my healing, O my God. Remembrance to thee is my remedy. Nearest to thee is my hope, and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Thou art the all-merciful, the all-knowing, the all-wise. O God, refreshing and glad my spirit, purify my heart. O my powers, I lay all my affairs in thy hand. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be a happy and joyful being. O God, I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will dwell on the present things of life. O God, thou art more friend to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord.
O God, my God, aid thou thy trusted servants to have loving and tender hearts. Help them to spread amongst all the nations of the earth the light of guidance that cometh from the company on high. Verily thou art the strong, the powerful, the mighty, the all-subduing, the ever-giving. Verily thou art the generous, the gentle, the tender, the most bountiful. Abdullah.
O my God, aid thou thy servant to raise up O God, my God, thou beholdest this weak one begging for celestial strength, this poor one craving thy heavenly treasures, this thirsty one longing for the fountain of eternal life, this afflicted one yearning for thy promised healing through thy boundless mercy, which thou hast destined for thy chosen servants in thy kingdom of on high. O Lord, I have no helper to save thee, no shelter besides thee, no sustainer except thee. Assist me with thine angels to diffuse thy holy fragrances and to spread abroad thy teachings amongst the choices of thy people. O my Lord, suffer me to be detached from aught else save thee, to hold fast the hem of thy bounty, to be wholly devoted to thy faith, to remain fast and firm in thy love, and to observe what thou hast prescribed in thy book. Verily, thou art the powerful, the mighty, the omnipotent.
Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to say a prayer?
Now, Ivy and Rex, before I leave here, I have to pray for the prisoners, the Bahai prisoners in Iran. Glory be unto thee, O Lord, thou who hast brought into being all created things through the power of thy behest. O Lord, assist assist those who have renounced all else but thee, and grant them a mighty victory. Send down upon them, O Lord, the concourse of the angels in heaven and earth, and all that is between, to aid thy servants, to succor and strengthen them, to enable them to achieve success, to sustain them, to invest them with glory, to confer upon them honor and exaltation, to enrich them, and to make them triumphant with a wondrous triumph. Thou art their Lord, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, the Lord of all the worlds. Strengthen this faith, O Lord, through the power of these servants, and cause them to prevail over all the peoples of the world. For they of a truth are thy servants, who have detached themselves from aught else but thee. And thou verily art the protector of true believers. Grant now, O Lord, their hearts may beat through allegiance to this, thine infallible faith, grow stronger than anything else in the heavens and on earth, and in whatsoever is between them. And strengthen, O Lord, their hands with the tokens of thy wondrous power, that they may manifest that power before the gaze of all mankind. The Bahai.
He is the King, the all-knowing, the wise. Lo, the nightingale of paradise singeth upon the twigs of the tree of eternity, with holy and sweet melodies, proclaiming to the sincere ones the glad tidings of the nearness of God, calling the believers in divine unity to the court of the presence of the generous one, informing the severed ones of the message which had been revealed by God, the King, the glorious, the peerless, guiding the lovers to the seat of sanctity and to this resplendent beauty. Verily, this is that most great beauty foretold in the books of the messengers, through whom truth shall be distinguished from error, and the wisdom of every command shall be tested. Verily, this is the tree of life that bringeth forth the fruit of God, the exalted, the powerful, the great. O Ahmad, bear thou witness that verily he is God, and there is no God but him, the King, the protector, the incomparable, the omnipotent, and that the one whom he had sent forth by the name of Ali was the true one from God, to whose commands we are all confirming. Say, O people, be obedient to the ordinances of God, which had been enjoined in the Bayan by the glorious, the wise one. Verily, he is the King of messengers, and his book is the mother book, it yea but no. Dost thou, the nightingale, utter his call unto you from this prison? He had but to deliver this clear message. Whosoever desireth, let him turn aside from this counsel, and whosoever desireth, let him choose the path of the throne. O people, if ye deny these verses, by what proof have ye believed in God? Produce it, O assemblage of false ones. Nay, by the one in whose hand is my soul, they are not and never shall be able to do this, even should they combine to assist O Ahmad, forget not my bounties while I am absent. Remember my days during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison. And be thou so steadfast in my love that thy heart shall not waver. Even if the swords of the enemies rain blows upon thee, and all the heavens and the earth arise against thee. Be thou as a flame of fire to my enemies, and a river of life eternal to my loved ones, and be not of those who doubt. And if thou art overtaken by affliction in my path, or degradation for my sake, be not thou troubled thereby. Rely upon God, thy God and the Lord of thy fathers. For the people are wandering in the paths of delusion, bereft of discernment to see God with their own eyes, or hear his melody with their own ears. Thus have we found them, as thou also dost witness. Thus have their superstitions become veils between them and their own hearts, and kept them from the path of God, the exalted, the great. Be thou assured in thyself that verily he who turns away from this beauty has also turned away from the messengers of the past, and showeth pride towards God from all eternity to all eternity. Learn well this tablet, O Ahmad. Chant it during thy days, and withhold not thyself therefrom. For God has ordained for the one who chants it a reward of 100 martyrs and a service in both worlds. These favors have we bestowed upon thee, as a bounty on our part, and a mercy from our present, that thou mayest be of those who are grateful. By God, should one who is in affliction or grief read this tablet with absolute sincerity, God will dispel his sadness, solve his difficulties, and remove his afflictions. Verily, he is the merciful, the compassionate. Praise be to God, the Lord of all the worlds. Bahai.
O God, refresh and gladden my spirit, purify my heart, illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hand. You are my guide and my refuge. I'll no longer be sorrowful and grieve. I will be happy and joyfully. I'll no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. Oh God, thou art a friend to me, and I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord. This is a Persian poem my mom composed that I like to sing for you. همت کنید ای بهاییان همه، ای جمع خیر خواه انسانیت، ای پایه ها یه برای صلح کن، نابود مدون کنید حیوانیت، نابود مدون کنید حیوانیت. ای طبیبان حاضر که دنیا امراض خود را کنید مداوا، ای طبیبان حاضر که دنیا امراض خود را کنید مداوا. عالم مریض و در بستر غفلت خوابیده است، کوشش بهبودی دنیا به ماها بسته است. عالم مریض و در بستر غفلت خوابیده است، کوشش بهبودی دنیا به ماها بسته است. ای بهاییان، اتحاد کل چار آخرین دین می کند جهان، اهل یک زمین، یک خانواده، دنیا یک وطن. ای بهاییان، اتحاد کل چار آخرین دین می کند جهان، اهل یک زمین، یک خانواده، دنیا یک وطن.
This praying of Baha'u'llah in Arabic for protection. قل إلهي إلهي فرج همي بجودك وعطائك، وازل قربتي بسلطنتك واقتدارك. تراني يا إلهي مقبلا إليك حينئذ أحاطت بالأحزان من كل الجهات. أسألك يا مالك الوجود والمهيمن على الغيب والشهود، باسمك الذي به سخرت الأفئدة والقلوب، وبأمواج بحر رحمتك وإشراقات أنوار نير عطائك، أن تجعلني من الذين ما منعهم شيء من الأشياء عن التوجه إليك مولى الأسماء وفاطر السماء. أي رب ترى ما ورد علي في أيامك، نسألك بمشرق أسمائك ومطلع صفاتك أن تقدم لي ما يجعلني قائما على خدمتك وناطقا بثنائك، إنك أنت المقتدر القدير وبالإجابة جدير. ثم أسألك في آخر عهدي بأنوار وجهك أن تصلح أموري وتقضي ديني وحوائجي، إنك أنت الذي شهد كل ذي لسان بقدرتك وقوتك وذي دراية بعظمتك وسلطانك. لا إله إلا أنت السامع المبين. بهاء الله.
وعلى
Thank you so much. It was an amazing devotional in all sorts of languages. It was amazing. So this concludes the program. I would like to invite you to come again next week, and thank you for coming this week. There's going to be lunch at the fellowship hall, so I would like to welcome you to join us there and have lunch together. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bola. Thank you.
Oh, is it going to be
Excellent.
Did you like it?
I loved it. Excellent.
Awesome.
Probably one of the most peaceful places I've been.
I'm glad you like it. Hopefully it didn't mess it up too much. This
This is great.
It was all over the place.
This is great. This is great. That's the good thing about God.
Obviously online.
So you couldn't exit once you found that? Yes.
Is there actually, so these writings, is there like is there like
There's a lot of books.
let me do some, do you mind if I take this camera and face it our way? That way.
Yeah, you were on the express.
Okay.
On the
Yeah, so
in
in terms of the writings, this is like a formative book that has
Super.
Thank you. That would be maybe comparable to the scriptures of the Bible, Torah, particular book with everything from form of speeches and
So yeah, in the Bahai faith, you have Baha'u'llah, who was the founder of the Bahai faith, and then right before Baha'u'llah was the Bab, who came to. He was there to promise that the promised one is coming. The person that everyone has been waiting for is about to come. So he has a book which is called the Bayan. The Bayan, which is by Bab, which came before Baha'u'llah. And the Baha'u'llah came 2 years after and announced his revelation, which we believe that he was the promised one, that Bab promised that he was going to come, all the other religions promised that he was going to come. So Baha'u'llah has tons of writings, which the main books, I guess if you want to call them, are the Kitab Abbas and the Kitab Bayan No, the Kitaba Atlas and Kitaba Ilan. And then there's all sorts of tablets and scriptures and prayers that are in different places that different people wrote and this and that. And then after Baha'u'llah, it was his son, Abdul Baha, who himself has a lot of books that he has written to clarify a lot of the writings of Baha'u'llah. And then after that, it was Shoghi Effendi, which was the grandchild of Abdul Baha, who has himself a lot of books that he wrote to sort of organize the faith and clarify the organization that Baha'u'llah had intended for the faith. So there's a lot of writings out there, and like I said, if you go to Bahai.com, there's a Baha'i reference library that you can find all of the books of Baha'u'llah, Abdul Baha, and Shoghi Effendi. They're all there. And I don't know how familiar you are with the way that the faith is organized.
I'm so. I guess I'm not. That's why I'm here. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. I don't know all of it. But usually every year, Baha'is elect among themselves a spiritual assembly, which is called the local spiritual assembly. Sometimes you hear of it as LSA, which every year happens around Rezwan, which Rezwan was the period. Rezwan means garden. It means rose garden. And it was a period that when Baha'u'llah was in Baghdad in Iraq, actually.
Jonathan, I'm in the bookstore just right next door.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, when he was there, which was the time that he actually announced it to the world that he was a prophet of God and he came to bring this religion. It's within that 12-day period that we celebrate it as Baha'is, and then at the beginning we go and vote for the local spiritual assembly. And then the next level is the National Spiritual Assembly, which is like the U.S. has one National Spiritual Assembly, which is a more global vision of the faith. And then you have Universal House of Justice, which they're located in Israel, which each nation sends representatives to the Universal House of Justice, and they get elected that way. So it's a step-by-step.
And so these clarify this for me, because from my understanding, there is no hierarchy per se, or there is no person in charge.
No, we don't have clergy or.
So these people who are elected per se, are there more so to?
It's the
administrative
order of the faith, which. For example, like we have a 5-year plan, which is set by the Universal House of Justice, which all the Baha'is around the world are trying to get the message of Baha'u'llah out there, which we have, if you go around the neighborhoods, we have junior youth classes, children classes, and we have Ruhi book classes, which is to put the word of Baha'u'llah out there and give a chance for everybody to hear these messages, which were sent from God for this day and age. That way, when you say Baha'i faith, people are like, oh, what is that? I've never heard of it. It's just different things that the Universal House of Justice comes up with, I guess, that sets the plan for the Baha'i faith as far as administrative stuff goes. How do we want to go about helping people in the world? How do we want to go this? And it sets those plans and we move forward. But as far as having a clergy and one person, no, the Baha'i faith doesn't have that.
As a young man, I'm young myself. Don't let the beard fool you. But as a young man, I think it's critical that that young folks, our voice is always heard, and that we are involved and engaged in whatever communities in which we identify with. What type of space does the Baha'i faith give to young people, to the platform that they give them? What room is there for young people to live out their purpose and their callings and to advance the world?
Yeah, I mean, Baha'u'llah says the youth can move the world. And that's what you see like in the Baha'i community. That's exactly what, the reason that you see no one is here is because all the youth are having children classes and youth classes in different neighborhoods around East Dallas, North Dallas, South Dallas. Yeah. Wow. So there's a lot of that going on, and it was set with the 5-year plan. If you came here, I don't know, 6 years ago, it would have been much more crowded. Yeah. But it was sort of this notion that we need to get out there, we need to spread the message of Baha'u'llah.
Because it's not going to happen in here.
Exactly. Yeah. If everyone came here, then we would all be happy together. Yeah. But we wanted this happiness to be with everyone. So like last night we had a Halloween party with a bunch of these junior youth, which my wife is not a Bahai yet. And she was talking to me and she's like, oh, this is amazing. I wish I had something like this as a kid.
And what faith is your wife?
She's a Catholic.
She's Catholic, so she's Christian, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's like, I wish I had something like this. I didn't have to go to parties and drink and this and that. I wish I could come here and this is so much fun.
Wow.
Like, these kids have an opportunity to actually have fun together.
Yeah.
And come from all over Dallas, and they're doing something great. They're serving the society that they're in.
And I think what's interesting is, I know I'm Christian, and so for me, you brought up Halloween, and, you know, Christians are just, oh no, you know, you know, and you know, sometimes even myself, I wonder if sometimes we either overthink things, or we give power for things to be evil, in a sense, or if, you know, or if there is just a true gift and power and energy in the cohesiveness of people and pure at heart of people. That when people just simply come together, despite the thing, that there's some power there. And
Absolutely.
There's a rich presence there that can transcend whatever shackles us and chains us. So.
Absolutely. I mean, we all came from the same place.
Yeah. This is good. I really thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
This has been an excellent time. I would not have wanted to be anywhere else than where I am right now today.
Awesome. Yeah, and we have a neighborhood devotional, which is it has a different setup, which is usually at one of my friend's house. It's usually in Uptown. I don't know which part of Dallas you live.
I'm in the setup, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he hosts it at his house, and we usually get together and we say prayers like we said here, and then we start talking about like real world problems and how can we make it better as a person that lives in this society.
Yeah.
So if you want to join those, you're more than welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
I really do. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm gonna go talk with Miss Deborah for 1 second and get to working on culminating this experience so that others at Southern Methodist University can learn more about the Bahai faith.
Absolutely,
and you know, and see that there's other perspectives out there, other experiences out there, and that God is speaking to us all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God is speaking through us all.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you. Thank you for coming.
No, most definitely.
How are they?
Good. How are you?
Yeah.